Welcome to round 5 of the Super GT300 Online Championship, sponsored by StorageTrunks.co.uk. We are watching the first flying lap, as seen from Philly, that had a wonderful qualifying session and was first. Here on turn 2, Philly has a mistake and lets the fast Skang and Agro past. Philly was incredibly fast but had a lot of mistakes this race that marred his efforts. Let's see what will happen at Remus curve. And we are watching here Kosu going slowly and another car spinning out. Quite a difficult situation to understand. Let's see in the replays what had happened exactly. We are here on board with Karsten. Let's see. There is past turn 1, approaching Remus. Karsten is drafting a snake. In front there's Chris and Kosu. Karsten goes for the inside end beautifully. Manages to pass Snake, then he has to lift off, and there's Kosu that lost a lot of position along with Karl. There was a spin there. Yet another replay, this time watching Chris. Chris was incredibly fast but had a really bad qualifying session, so he started quite back in the grid. But it was really fast and aggressive since the first turn. See here. I have to say that our drivers have been behaving so good. And here Chris was managing to take something like 3 position right away, and here passing Pubes. In front there's Skang, Agro and Pedro. A beautiful pass by Chris. His start of the race was really promising. We are now on lap 3, we have Pubs and Snake fighting. Pubs didn't have a really great start of the race, but the best was yet to come, to say so. And here he was going a little wide and losing his position out of Snake's better acceleration. Nothing to say about this. It happens. A small mistake can be paid dearly here. We are now on lap 4, that is Agro and Skang battling for first and second position. Agro is drafting Skang, approaching Remus. Behind Chris is doing the same with Karl. Agro goes to the inside, side by side, a little bad acceleration from Skang. Agro had a better one. Agro goes for the inside, Skang tries to resist on the outside. Let's see what will happen at this breaking point. And Agro manages to pass beautifully. Exciting first laps. This lap 6. Philly was dragged behind by his mistakes. And here is trying to hunt Karl for 8th place. You can see how much tighter are Philly's lines along the track. He looks so much faster than the others. And here he manages on the last corners to pass Karl. A nice pass, very clean. Philly was fast, but as you can see, his car was quite twitchy. It's lap 10 and lap 11, a beautiful fight between Pedro and Chris. Chris had managed to overcome Pedro, but his setup wasn't so perfect, to say so. His car was a little too much sliding on both sides, on all 4 wheels. Probably something wrong with roll bars, who knows. But still he managed to put on quite a good fight. He's fast forward, approaching Remus curve. And goes for the inside. Nothing to do. Goes back to the outside and tries to out-accelerate. A little more draft. Let's see if he'll manage to pass at the end of this stride. Seems that Chris goes for the inside and Pedro is on the outside. Let's see. And Chris is a little wide. Let's see, Pedro has a better out. Will he manage to pass him? And yes, he closes the line and takes the position. Well done. Oh, touching some grass and sand outside of the track. Pushing hard, wasn't he? And this lap 16, Vic and Logic had a lot of interesting battles. Actually, Vic, Logic and Skang had a lot of fun this race, I think, battling constantly. Beautiful close quarters battles with no big issues, beside one that we'll see later on. Here Vic backs off to avoid rear-handing Logic. Logic was a little afraid, to say so, of the upcoming drivers. This is a little fast forward again. Vic was the lightest driver on track, so it was quite an issue to keep him behind. This is Karsten and Pedro. Karsten had a different strategy and here was trying to hold on Pedro, making him lose a little of time while his teammate would fly away. He managed to do something for 3 laps or so. Did his best on worn out tires, and it actually in the end it didn't matter, for Pedro won anyway. Pubs had no help out of this, but still it was quite entertaining and fun battle to be in. Carsten was obviously quite lighter than Pedro, something like 80 kilograms. Here Pedro manages to pass Karsten, that had a bad in on the last turns. Karsten had the better out of the very last one. He drafts, goes side by side, approaching turn 1. Will he try to... No, he backs off for a better acceleration. Pedro goes wide, accelerating slower. Let's see if Karsten will try to take back his position at Remus. Side by side, Karsten seems to be a little in front of, but Pedro closes quite strongly, a little top, and Karsten surrenders. Well done, Pedro. And now lap 24, Logic and Snake. These two had quite a lot of battles together. Most of the time it was Logic holding Snake, to be honest, but it's part of racing, different strategies, overlapping, trying to do your best. And Logic did quite a good race if it wasn't for the last laps. You'll see what I mean. And here Snake had a better acceleration out of there. Let's see who is bolder at Remus and Logic. Well done. But his out wasn't so clean, and he's offering draft to Snake. Oh, losing car on that curb. Let's see. Yes, Snake manages to pass. A bit of a sweat for him, but clearly was faster. So now we have a beautiful battle. Vic, Carl and Skang all together coming at Remus. Vic is the lightest, had draft, so he manages to get first at the braking point, passing Carl, but then Skang manages to resist and keep his position in front of the pack. Beautiful. Let's see it again, this time with Vic on board. Let's see how good our drivers have behaved again. Really kudos to all drivers in this series. I do not think there are so much good drivers all together in another one. Again Vic, Skang, and this time Logic. This was a race of trios for Saints, so most of the time it was groups of 3 cars fighting each other with overlapping strategies, so one was usually in front with worn out tires and the other 2 were trying to overtake while getting slowed down. This was what Karsten based his strategy at first, but well, didn't work out because he managed to mess up with fuel. See how much tighter was Skang's line out of that SS, and how fast is Vic with his light car and draft. Vic had a really great race. He surprised most of the other drivers with a really long stint strategy, really solid, making advantage of a lighter car at his best, so compliments to him. Skang doesn't seem to want to stay behind Logic. He had a better out here, he has draft, there's a good stride downhill. Let's see what will happen at the right hand corner here. Logic goes a little wide, touches curb and collides with Skang. Both had damages here, and Vic somehow, I think he was celebrating or something like that, passing Skang and then Logic. We are now fast forward again, Logic and Snake, our usual couple, and again Snake manages to overtake Logic at the right bend after the downhill, after having a better acceleration. See, nothing to do for Logic. Snake too had a great race. I almost forgot to mention, it was really well done for him. This is the last 2 laps, we are on board with Karsten. Karsten had a mistake in refueling, so he had to pit one more time and a fast splash and go, and was on quite fresher tires than others, so he was gnawing, biting at Carl's back, gaining seconds and seconds each lap, and here with just another lap to go, Carl feels the pressures and makes mistakes, leaving 9th position, actually 10th position to Karsten. And now we are fast forward, we are watching Kosu in 9th and Logic Line in 8th position, the 2 teammates. Seems that Logic has everything in his hand, there's just 3 corners to the hand. We can see that Kosu had almost no more fuel, but the truth is the same for Logic 2, he had even less fuel, and see here, ta-da! He finished his fuel with just 2 corners to go, goes wide, then tries to take the pit stops for taking a shorter route, and he loses position to Karsten too, that ends in 9th position. And so this is the race, and we are watching the results. Hale won in front of Agro, then there was Chris, Great Pubes, that had a great race, Kang, Vickers, Snake, Kosu, Karsten, Carl, Logic, TNT, Sedbell and Filipino that stopped this car, had the best lap, but it wasn't enough for him. This is all for this week, see you next time from Karsten, bye!